Hello everybody and a very warm welcome back to the latest episode of Hidden Jewels of Soul and Disco. Once again, a big thank you to each and every one of you who joined the Vinyl Me Please live stream last week. We had a blast. A big shout out and thanks to Rocco from Pieces of Vinyl who made it possible that we had an official from Vinyl Me Please, Paul Bass, on the live stream. So also a big thank you to Paul for taking the time doing this. And of course, Michael45, who also joined the live stream. It was fantastic. So all three of you, thank you very much. This week, we are featuring Shirley Brown.
Barbara. Barbara, this is Shirley.
In 1974, Shirley Brown had her biggest hit with Woman to Woman. And in the beginning, there's a monologue where she calls the mistress of her husband. But do you know who was at the end of that line? And also why the single Woman to Woman marked the end of an era? Well, we'll discuss this after some needle drops.
Get it on. Might end up in love. Who knows? Might end up in love. He's just as sweet as he can be.
West Memphis, Kansas in 1947, and from the earliest age on she sang in church gospel music. When she was 14 years old, Albert King discovered her in the Harlem Club in Brooklyn, Illinois, and he took her on the road with him. While she was so young, he had to ensure that she got a tutor and a special way to be educated. If she missed some classes, we don't know. By 1972, she released her first single on the Abbott label, and the single was called Ain't Gonna Tell and Love Built on a Strong Foundation. These singles really didn't do much. And by 1974, Albert King took her to Jim Stewart, who was at that time president of Stax. And he was so impressed with her that he said, you know what, I'm going to sign you, I'm going to record you, and I'm producing this record myself, which was the first production work by Jimmy Stewart in 2 years. That's how impressed he was by Shirley Brown. So they recorded at the beginning a song, Woman to Woman, and it was recorded by Shirley Brown in just one take. The story behind Woman to Woman is also a very fascinating one. The songwriting team of Stax who was behind that record was James Banks, Eddie Marion, and Henderson Tigbin. And these three guys wanted to become the next songwriting powerhouse team of Stax. While working on the song, they also gave 2 songs to Enos Fox, who was at that time recording Enos Fox at Memphis. And they were hoping to pitch a 3rd song to her. And the 3rd song was made during, the guys were sitting at Stax and we're like, okay, we need an idea for a song and we need something different, so what can we do? And you know, when it's tough, they say man to man, and they said, oh well, woman to woman. And then Tickman said, well, you know, my wife was having a phone conversation with a woman while they were discussing 2 women being in love or in a relationship with one man, and so that's how they constructed Woman to Woman. And they took the demo and sent it to Enos Fox, and she said, well, at the beginning there's a spoken part, and I think a spoken part fits way more better to Isaac Hayes or a man instead of a woman. And so she said no. Al Jackson Jr., who was the drummer of Booker T, took the demo of that song and went to the next recording session, which was the one from Shirley Brown. So Shirley Brown and Albert King just getting into the studio, they hear the demo and record that song in one take. Well, the rest is maybe history. The song was sold 2 million times in 8 weeks after its release, and it became Stax's final big hit. And now, well, here is the record Woman to Woman, and from the beginning to the end, it's an absolutely fantastic record. And you know what the good thing about this record is? You can easily get it, even up here in Germany, between 10 to 20 euros or dollar, and you're getting a fantastic record. Back at that time, it was released on Truth Records, which was a sub-label of Stax, and I'm going to show you the record because I'm so in love with this label, Truth Records, because it had a fantastic look. It was just brilliant. So, Woman to Woman, the album had moderate success. It wasn't really that such a big hit, but in retrospective, it's an absolutely fantastic record. Go and get it. By 1975, a woman released a song which was the answering song of Woman to Woman. Do you remember the intro of Woman to Woman? Well, let's have a listen.
Hello. May I speak to Barbara?
She's talking to a woman who's called Barbara. So, being fast thinking and just working on an album, well, 4 weeks after Woman to Woman left the charts, the great, unbelievable Barbara Mason took the opportunity and they released the album Love's the Thing. And the song From His Woman to You is actually the answering song to Woman to Woman. This wasn't planned, it was a coincidence that they took the chance to do it, and it was such a clever idea because that song became a hit as well. Let's have a listen.
Now wait a minute, Shirley. I'm a young woman, and I can't afford to do all the things you do for this man. I don't even have a job, and I can't buy his clothes, pay his car note, and I surely can't keep money in his pocket. But I can give him what he needs when he needs it, and that's all he expects from me. I can give him love.
Barbara Mason is a true legend, and if you have a chance, go and check her out. She made some tremendously good recordings. You remember when I said at the beginning that Woman to Woman marked also the end of an era? Well, Woman to Woman was the last successful single, the last major hit on Stax. The follow-up single, Ain't No Fun, ended around the same time as Stax. But what happened to Shirley Brown? Well, in 1977 she went to Artistar and released Shirley Brown, which wasn't such a big hit. She kept on going from one label to another. She kept on going and record records. But unfortunately, she could never repeat the success of Woman to Woman. If you have a chance, this is Shirley Brown, Intimate Storm 1984. You get her records tremendously cheap, and they all sound great because Shirley Brown sounds great because she has an absolutely stunning voice. And she's still doing performances, she's still around, I'm very happy about that. And unfortunately, she's one of those hidden heroes, which should have been and could have been, but it's the same with the three guys who wrote that song. Jim Stewart believed if you had one hit record, you had another hit and another hit and another hit within you. But also with the Stax ended, the songwriting team could never get into their full potential. And some of them wished that Stax would have at least to survive till 1978 so that they would have had more time to develop. But sometimes the things are not working out the way they should or could. All right, Shirley Brown. Shirley Brown. All I can say is stay healthy, listen to good music, and it's still absolutely hot up here in Germany. I'm still melting away, and I was so hoping that it's getting a little cooler, but I do hope for next week. But I can also, listening to music while it's so extremely hot and you don't have an air conditioner is not so cool, because also the record player, the amp and everything is getting warm. But, we all have to sacrifice to listen to music, and I love sacrifice listening to vinyl. So all I can say is, if you have a chance, go and pick up some stuff of Shirley Brown. It's cheap and it's wonderful, and this is a combination which is absolutely rare these days. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.